Shakur Stevenson goes off, says nobody in the world can beat him. You guys see the tweet. Yeah. Shakur Stevenson had a late replacement, an electrician. Josh Padley, domestic level guy, had a good little domestic win against Mark Chamberlain. Shakur fought him late terms as Floyd Schofield was ill and not able to compete. For me, I feel like there's more to the story that they haven't told us yet. I don't know what it is, but the whole situation was weird. Schofield was almost braggadocious, got to Riyadh, seemed confident, looked to be in shape, and then randomly they're like, the fight is canceled. And we started seeing tweets of Schofield saying they were poisoned by somebody. Golden Boy, they didn't really have any words. They said they didn't talk to Schofield. Schofield said that we're going to be free agents soon. Then they said we love Golden Boy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with the Schofields. I can't wait till they arrive back in America because I feel like once they get to America and settle back in, they might start speaking again. So Shakur needed a late replacement. They got him one. Josh Padley, a very unknown, obscure name. And it just wasn't an appetizing fight on paper. And when it happened, the guy only had 4 knockouts. I can't say nothing bad about Padley. He tried. He was trying to make it a fight, but he had no camp, no time to prepare. So you got to just give him points for having heart, taking the payday. And he basically sold his undefeated record for real, because that's what happened. He was an undefeated fighter stepping in. Now he has a loss by stoppage, got dropped 3 times in the round 9. Now, there's something weird about how Shakur moves, at least to me. Shakur seems, he's the only fighter I've seen do this in boxing, where they'll have a win that nobody's disputing. Like, nobody's saying he didn't beat Artem Harutyunyan, or in this case, late replacement, electrician, Josh Padley. But Shakur will go on social media, like almost like a rant and a tirade after his victories, his wins that nobody's disputing that you won. More so, did they like how you won and, you know, the nuanced things. No one's disputing that you achieved victory. And it's weird because Shakur, he's almost like incensed and like angry and like furious after his wins. I can't think of any other fighter from heavyweight down that wins a fight and they seem so bothered with the public, the media, the fans, people on Twitter over Shakur Stevenson. It looks like the kid has paper thin skin to me. He just seems like too like involved and invested. Hey, you fought who you fought. You perform how you perform. If you and your team like it and love it, cool, on to the next one. But with statements like this, it's like, it looks like insecurity to me, right? Nobody in the world can beat me. It doesn't like it's like overcompensating. It doesn't even sound like the behavior and the statements would be the typical reaction for other fighters in this given situation. Like, you fought an electrician with no camp, no training, pretty much hopped on a flight and had to cut weight because this is at the lightweight division. Unlike Bacoli, who was a late sub, but at least he was heavyweight, so he came in at 315 or whatever. This dude had to actually make weight. Again, I can't say nothing bad. He was a victim of happenstance and circumstance, so he just, given the situation, took the money, sacrificed his record, did as good as he could. And he was even landing some shots on Shakur. He just had no camp, no stamina. He went on record saying none of Shakur's power or headshots bothered me. It was just the body shots because I didn't train. I wasn't doing running. I had no cardio, no lungs, no conditioning. So I was just getting like the wind knocked out of me. But he said power wise, it really wasn't apparent. And it's like Shakur has like a complex or something. And to hear the feedback that he gets after his fights, it like sends him down, a bad path. Like, I haven't seen this in boxing. There's a lot of fighters with egos, no pun intended, but it's like almost like a deep seated, deep rooted, like internal insecurity. Like it's like almost like deep down, I know what people are saying. Some of it is true, but then I can't show that. And I got to remain tough. So I'm going to overcompensate by rah, 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 and saying stuff like, nobody in the world can beat me. After he stopped Padley, immediately after the fight, he ran to the turnbuckle and he's like huffing and puffing like, yeah, boo, boo, because the crowd started booing him, which I never, all the little fights they've done in Saudi Arabia, I never seen them boo anybody. And some of the fights haven't been amazing. Like they had the Latino night. The Barboza Ramirez fight wasn't amazing. I have never, that I could recall, seen one of these Riyadh season fights in Saudi Arabia where the crowd was like, boo, and they really were cheering on Padley, like in the fight, and they got behind him. And Shakur gets on the turnbuckle after the victory, after stopping the Electrician, and he's like, yeah, give me some of them boos. Almost like he's bragging. Now he's on social media like, nobody can beat me. Tank is a clown. And it seems over the top. Like, you seem real hyped that you beat an Electrician. Like, it's not your fault the Schofields pulled out. I can understand that. You fought who you could. But I told you there was no real win for Shakur here. It was a lose-lose situation. It would have been better to pull him from the card, compensate him somewhat, and say, hey, I'll put you on the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia card in Times Square. Put him back in America and then reschedule the Floyd Schofield fight. But I'm not one of the organizers for this event. I think my idea makes a lot more sense. Let me know if you guys agree. That would have been a better plan. Instead, they said, nope. Because the other thing is you had enough fights on here where Shakur didn't really need to be on here. If you couldn't get him an opponent that made sense that the fans would want to see, like you're wasting people's time basically. Guy with no camp, with no power, with no hope. So he don't even have a home run chance. At least if you got a late replacement like Bacoli for Shakur, at least we know he's big and he has power. So there's something. But you gave Shakur the worst fight on here, all things considered, because you have a guy with no camp and unknown, and then on top of that, he don't have no power, and Shakur don't have no power. This was never going to work, and people were never going to empathize more with Shakur than the guy who's taking the trip last minute and is a hardworking electrician, and he's uprooted his life to try to have this Rocky moment. Crowds, they're gonna always like the Cinderella man story, and then Shakur's persona and how he's acting like, oh, nobody could beat me, bring on Tank. I just don't think it's conducive, but that's my opinion. I'll be back with some more heat. Let me know what you guys think. But this whole nobody can beat me off of beating the Electrician sounds really weird, and it's not really relatable to the fans.